Hello there. You're listening to the Box Office Show. I'm Ryan Hill.
And I'm Dylan Johnson. Today we're going to be talking about the box office numbers from last weekend and our box office predictions for this upcoming weekend.
We will unveil the results of the 2025 Oscars draft as we go through the winners from the 97th Oscars.
Then we'll hand out our own bonus Oscars, or what we like to call here at the box office show, the Boxies, in special categories like Best Tearjerker, Most Beautiful Shot, and the big prize for the Boxies, Best Scene.
Right into the box office breakdown for February 28th to March 2nd. Captain America Brave New World still on top with 14.8 million.
After that was Last Breath with 7.8 million.
The Monkey, third place, 6.4 million.
Paddington in Peru, 4.5 million, bringing its domestic total to 30 million.
Dogman, 4.2 million.
Mufasa, the Lion King, still holding on there with 1.9 million.
Ninja 2 with 1.7 million. It has crossed $2 billion worldwide. It is official.
Air horns. That's crazy. That is a fat number for that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Heart Eyes, 1.3 million.
The Unbreakable Boy, 1.2 million.
And One of Them Days dropping just below $1 million with 915,000.
For this upcoming weekend, March 7th to the 9th, we have Bong Joon-ho's Mickey 17, starring Robert Pattinson, hitting theaters. Dylan, I know that this has been one of the most anticipated films that you've had for like 2 years now in a row.
Yep.
As far as everyone else's hype levels for this film, I don't know that it is reaching yours.
It's true.
So what do you think this film will get in its opening weekend? Will the general audiences show up?
I think max 15 million, unfortunately.
Dang. That's tragic. I think it will get at least over 17 million, right? It's got to cross the Mickey 17 threshold there. I think
We'll
20
see,
mil. I'll put 20 mil down.
We'll see. Let's start recapping the Oscar night that just happened. It was the 97th ceremony.
Mm-hmm.
That's what we just talked about. Yep. And Conan O'Brien, in his first time ever hosting the Oscars. Ryan, you are much more than me a big Conan fan. Were you excited for his hosting abilities?
Oh, I was very excited, and I was very delighted by his hosting. It felt so much like his monologue, felt so much like just a monologue on his old show on TBS. So it was, I was loving it. I was cracking up after pretty much every joke, and then he does those little things too. His little dance that he does, his jig after some of the jokes. And then sometimes when he'll like acknowledge the fact that a joke was either stupid, even if it still landed, he'll be like, that was a stupid joke. Or he'll call out if it didn't get quite the reception that it needed, or if it was a delayed reaction there. And so whenever he does that stuff, I always love it. And the little bits too, the Amazon package, like they delivered something there and then he got taken by one of those.
Delivered Jeff Bezos.
Yeah, Jeff Bezos, and then he got stolen by a package thief. So the little bits like that, yeah, again, straight out of one of his shows. So for me, that clicked 100%. And then he's also great. I think he's always been one of the greats at also being able to be serious and earnest when he needs to be. And so he obviously acknowledged the wildfires that had struck the region and was pointing out that, yes, this is a very like decadent ceremony celebrating a bunch of very wealthy artists, but also a lot of hardworking laborers, craftspeople, technicians, the people whose names are not known worldwide and don't have millions and millions of dollars to their name. But still, it's worthwhile to showcase their work and celebrate it. And so I like that he was able to do that. Like he leaned into it somewhat, but a lot of times we get this whole song and dance of like, oh, isn't it stupid that we're here making, all these great awards for movies and just overly self-congratulating ourselves. And at a certain point, it's like, yes, that's the case. But also, I think it is important to celebrate the arts and to recognize people that have worked extremely hard on creating things that do have an impact on people in the world. So I like that he was able to both be very funny and goofy, as he always is, but also being very earnest and sincere and sort of giving the thesis statement of why, yes, even when crazy things are going down in the country and even in LA itself, that the ceremony is worthwhile and worth putting on and worth watching. So
Mm-hmm.
I thought he did great. I was a big fan.
Yeah. And thoughts on the idea of cutting out these song performances in exchange for different bits that they could do, like celebrating movies in the past. They did a James Bond bit. They did what else did they do? They did Wicked in the beginning, like a song for the Wicked movie with Cynthia
Mhm.
Erivo and Ariana Grande singing. They did something else as well. I'm struggling to remember.
Yeah, it was another
There's another tribute of some kind.
performance. Yeah, tributing somebody. Um, I think the Wicked opening performance made sense to do. Again, when you're putting on a show, you want to be able to bring in the general audience, and Wicked was obviously a pop culture phenomenon. So having Ariana Grande singing opening the show is obviously a great hook, and then her and Cynthia Erivo, singing part of the most famous song from Wicked, it makes sense to do, and they killed it. They both did incredible. So I thought that was very smart to do, and I'm not against that at all. The whole James Bond thing, I was very curious about. Like the people we
Mm-hmm.
were watching with, I was like, why is this happening? Because we just got that news of Barbara Broccoli had essentially given up Bond, giving it over to Amazon, to
Mm-hmm.
Bezos.
Yeah.
And so I was like, there's no way this is in reference to that, because it would just be too quick, like too quick of a turnaround to put this whole tribute for James Bond. Apparently, it's because they won one of the those like bonus sort of awards that they get, like the
Mm-hmm.
non-competition awards that are recognizing people in the industry. So it just happened to line up that way, that they are essentially like retiring and giving up Bond. And now we know, again, it's going to the massive Amazon corporation. So they did this both tribute, but also it seems a little bit like a memoriam for Bond as well, or what Bond used to be. Again, we
Mm-hmm.
have no idea what it will become under Amazon's tenure, but I don't know. And it was also, we're singing these like famous, iconic songs, people that still, like the singers Adele, who is still around and could have been there to
Yeah.
perform it, which would have been amazing. But we're having these new artists who, I mean, I knew Doja Cat, but the others I did not know.
Uh-huh. I
So
was told by Jacob Hayes was over, and he was there watching the ceremony. He does not watch movies at all. He has seen none
uh,
of the nominees.
not even
His favorite
Wicked.
movies are Marvel movies. Yeah, he
He
didn't see
saw
Wicked.
Dune. He did see
He
Dune.
did see Dune. You're right.
Yeah,
He watched Dune too, and that's it. And he did not like it. And
yeah, he was more mid
yeah, his
to mid
biggest
positive on it.
contribution to like the commentary, the performance, was letting me know that the three girls, the three women that sang the Bond songs, they had a song recently that come out that they all made together.
Hmm.
So it is a promotional thing, 100%. And also, you do know Lisa.
Do I?
The, yeah, she's in the White Lotus, the new season.
Oh, well, there you go. Not familiar with her singing work though.
She's in Blackpink, the
Oh,
K-pop
okay,
band.
okay, okay.
She's the Thai singer for
Did
K-pop
they all
hit Blackpink.
Blackpink break up? Is that a
I don't know
thing?
if they broke up, but I know Lisa has a solo career for sure. I
Okay,
think they're still together.
fascinating.
That's a Jacob question. I don't really follow K-pop.
Gotcha. Okay. But yeah, I mean, this year they didn't do the performer like original songs that have all been nominated for
Hmm.
obvious reasons. I guess they didn't want to give more Amelia Perez spotlight, and I think I kind of like that because again, if they're
Yeah.
not very popular songs, like again, you get Billie Eilish to do the song from Barbie. Obviously, that's going to be huge
Hmm.
because I was like on the radio and
You have Bradley
charting.
Cooper and Lady Gaga sing
Exactly.
"A Star Is
Like
Born."
big star moments where you can get like the just a recognizable singer up there to do it. But then you have again like the songs that are from movies that are less well known, and so it just becomes a
Diane
thing like,
Warren's
all right,
music.
we're carving
She's
3 minutes
always
out
there.
for this song that probably isn't even going to win from someone we don't even really know. We
Mm-hmm.
don't even get the context of the song in the movie, and so it's like separated from that. It doesn't make sense to put so many song performances in a showcase for movies. So I thought what they did here was okay. I thought both tributes, the Bond one and the other one, went on a little too long, but
Sure.
yeah, I wasn't like terribly mad at it.
All right. Let's start recapping the awards themselves now that we're done talking about the ceremony. Let's start with the supporting categories. Best Supporting Actor. No surprise. Winner, winner. Kieran Culkin for A Real Pain.
A full sweep of the awards race. Uh, what'd you think of the speech he gave here?
It's a great speech. It's definitely one of the more memorable ones. I love
Definitely
him
memorable.
calling out his wife, and saying that they need to make more kids now. It's a very fun story. It's cute. I liked it. I thought it was a good speech. I think it was a good win, well deserved win. Yeah,
All
that's
right,
my
there
thoughts.
you go.
Not much more about Kieran Culkin there.
The Yeah, I do think it was a very fascinating story to unveil there, and we'll see if he made another pact because he's going to be in Glengarry Glen Ross with I think Bob Odenkirk is in that as well.
They're
But
remaking
the play,
Glengarry Glen Ross. Oh, the play.
and he's possibly going for a Tony now, so we will see.
He's gonna be an EGOT soon.
Yeah,
He
and
just
then
needs
a
to write a hit song.
fifth kid on the way, so we'll see about that. But yeah, we knew that was happening. We knew Best Supporting Actress was also going to Zoe Saldana, who, despite also doing like a pretty big sweep through all the major awards bodies, although again it is the Oscars, so it makes sense. But it was the same thing with the Golden Globe speech, where she was like on the verge of complete tears, like a hysterical breakdown, and then able to immediately like bring it back together and thank the next person on the list. Um, so I think it's just very funny that her speeches continue to remain that way, despite her again winning many times. She had a lot of chances to, I don't know, choose which direction she wanted to go in.
Mm-hmm.
Notably, did not thank any of her castmates by name. Wonder
Yeah,
why.
just
The
said
director got a
the
shout out
women
though.
of Amelia Perez.
Exactly. Yeah. So big turnaround from again the Golden Globes. They won the Golden Globes. It ended off the show with Carla Sofia Gascon like giving a speech. How things have changed, where Saldana doesn't even recognize the actor of the titular role in in the movie she won for. But
Yeah, it's rough.
yeah, so shout out to them again,
Yeah,
supporting
Amelia Perez.
actress as we
We'll
do.
get into it, but they win multiple awards throughout the night, and none of the people that gave speeches for Amelia Perez mentioned trans people at all.
Wow, Zoe Saldana didn't in her speech either.
No, she just thanked the women of Amelia Perez.
Well, there you go. I know she got in somewhat of hot water for her like post Oscars, the Q&A.
Is it true?
Well, yeah, they had said they brought up like, so how do you feel about like Mexican people, for instance, not feeling well represented or being offended by some of the stuff in there? Um, and so I don't know exactly what she said. I did not watch that part, but I just know she had gotten in some trouble for her response to that. But hey, she got the Oscar. Now she never has to talk about the film again. So she honestly shouldn't have. She should just been like, again, I am very thankful for this. Thank you. Have a good night, everyone. Because this is it. She don't have to bring this up anymore. So good
Mm-hmm.
for her. Best
Yeah.
cinematography. The Brutalist won. Lowell Crawley was the victor. So we also, I think, both named that as the will win.
Yeah.
So not a big surprise there either.
Yeah. Best animated feature went to Flow, which was a bit of a surprise. You and I both thought The Wild Robot was going to take it. We thought Flow was kind of an outside chance to steal, but for the most part was really just going to be a big winner at the Golden Globes because they have a smaller voting body. But Flow still won. So first Oscar for Latvia.
Balls in your court, Estonia. That was a
Bad joke.
great bit by Conan. And then he did it twice when what was it, the first black victor for the costume designer.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he did the same thing there. You'd love to see it. Great joke.
Yeah.
Flow, an independent Latvian film made in Blender. That's crazy. And it
It's
beat out
awesome.
Inside Out 2, which prior to, I guess, this past week when Nisha 2, well, I guess it had already been that milestone, but Inside Out 2, the biggest animated film of all time from Pixar, which of course is a huge juggernaut, um, beat out that film and beat out the comparative underdog, The Wild Robot, which is from DreamWorks, which again is huge. Like it's part of a studio. It's been around for decades as well.
Yeah, and
But
Wallace and Gromit, which has a huge following by
exactly.
true fans like me. Aardman, who has won this award before.
Mm-hmm. So crazy to see Flo ultimately take the win at the Oscars, but it's lovely to see. I mean, it's a very nice film. Again, we gave it a little bit of a shout on our top 10. I think it's an honorable mention or honorable mention adjacent. So, Flo, shout out to them.
Shout out. Best
Best,
animated short went to In the Shadow of the Cypress. And they gave an interesting speech.
uh, you wanted Yuck to win just
I
based on the
did.
title alone.
I
Have you
did.
found out anything more about Yuck? Do you know?
I found out nothing about any of
Okay,
these movies.
there we go. I had, I think Beautiful Men is what I said on the actual pod that we recorded. And then I switched it to Wonder during the actual night of and lost out on both of them. So,
Wah,
In the
wah,
Shadow of
wah,
Cypress
wah.
took it. Best costume design went to Wicked, Paul Tazwell, which again, we saw coming.
Mhm.
Uh, actually, did you see it coming?
I think I said Conclave, maybe. I don't remember.
Maybe. No, I think your
But I
opinion
said
came
I
around
said I could
Wicked.
understand. Maybe I said Conclave should win, but I said Wicked will win.
Yeah.
Because remember, you and I were pretty 1-1 on what we think would win. But you wanted
Mhm.
Gladiator 2 to win. And I
Yeah.
also kind of wanted Gladiator 2 to win because that would have been a good win for me. The
True.
only nomination for Gladiator 2.
Indeed.
That would have been awesome, though. Gladiator 2 gets nominated for one Oscar and wins it. It'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. 100% hit rate. There you go.
Hmm. After Best Costume Design, we have Best Original Screenplay. Went to Sean Baker for Honora. It's great.
Indeed. So we both ultimately had that as would win.
Hmm.
So yeah, we saw that coming, and then at a certain point in the night as well, once we knew who won best editing, we saw the Honora sweep had begun.
Oh, yeah.
So this is just one element to that.
Oh, yeah.
Best adapted screenplay, Conclave. Peter Strahan was the winner. The only win for Conclave of the entire night. Very surprising. I thought it would pick up at least a couple more, but no, just adapted screenplay, which is a great award in and of itself. But we knew that that was the far and away front runner for it, so at least it got the one surefire win under its belt.
Absolutely. Best makeup and hairstyling, of course, went to The Substance. You and I both predicted this winner. This was kind of a stacked category, too. These were all good choices. And I think they made the right call, though. I think The Substance absolutely dazzled and wowed from start to finish with the makeup and the hairstyling.
Mm-hmm. Best film editing, which came early in the night, and again, this is what we knew we were in for an Honora sweep, but specifically a Sean Baker sweep because he won specifically for best film editing for Honora. So this was
Again, good choice.
surprising. I think I had Conclave would win. So that was the first deviation there. Did you have Honora as would win? I don't think
I
so. I
think I
think we
did,
both were. You definitely had for should win, I believe, but
for
I think
sure.
we were
I didn't
happy with
think they
most for
would give
Conclave.
Sean Baker so many trophies because they
Yeah,
never
me
usually
neither.
give one person this many trophies. And absolutely deserved. The editing in Honora is fantastic.
Mhm. Best production design went to Wicked,
Good
Ethan
choice.
Crowley and Lee Sandales.
You and I were wrong in this one. We both thought or didn't we? Did we both think the Brutus would win?
I said Wicked would win, and you said The Brutalist.
I said Wicked should win, but the Brutus is a movie about production design. Like
Yes.
it's about designing things. I thought it would win. I think it's the same thing as like Phantom Thread winning costume design. Like it feels like a layup.
Hmm.
But I am glad that Wicked won. I just thought you and I both thought that Wicked wouldn't win because we thought the CGI would overtake the impression that the production design had. And you and I both agree the production design is very, very good, but the way they shot it and the amount of CGI that's in there kind of dulls it down. But it was still recognized,
for
which is
sure.
great.
But I did say it would win, so
You did.
that was a nice one there. Again, we should have. I don't know if you did on the night as well. If you like did predictions and tallied how many out of the 23 you got.
Mm-hmm.
I think we'd have to go back and double check for sure, but I think I had 18
Possibly.
out of
I don't know. I
23
wasn't
based on
paying
this.
attention.
And I think you had one or two less because again, some deviations like best
Okay,
production
buddy.
design. Yeah, that's right, buddy.
But yeah,
Oscar
wicked
draft and
for
predictions.
Nathan Crowley and Lee Sandals. Big night for the Crowleys. Nathan Crowley, Lowell Crowley.
Very true. No relation, I assume.
No, spelled
Best
differently.
best original song went to El Mal, Amelia Perez, Clement Ducal, and Camille and Jacques Audiard.
Awesome.
So wow, so Jacques Audiard did get an Oscar at the end of the day. That's crazy. What do you think of this acceptance speech?
Emilia, Emilia.
Which is
It's very
bizarre.
bizarre. Very bizarre.
Yeah, I was not a fan of that. I was like, they needed to just cut away, cut the mic, like stop it in its
They
tracks
needed to cut
immediately.
to John Lithgow looking disappointed.
Exactly. There were a few times they needed to cut to him there. Yeah, how the producers, whoever was back there calling the camera angles and everything, they wanted to at different points throughout the show. They're
I
like,
kind of wish they
"Give a
had
little."
stuck to the bit because you remember, I think it was the Golden Globes, but somebody was hosting an event one time and they had their mother come up and like rush people off the stage. Do you remember this?
I don't. No, I don't recall.
It was instead of playing people off with music, it had to be the Golden Globes because they wouldn't actually commit to the bit at the Oscars. But at the Golden
No.
Globes, was it Gerard Carmichael? He hosted the Golden Globes recently, right? No. Anyway, it was somebody's mother came and hushed you, heard you off the stage from the crowd while you were giving your speech, and they stuck to the bit, and she did it. But the
That's
Oscars would never do that. The Oscars would never stick to that kind of. It's too important a thing. They'll just play you off of music.
Yeah.
Especially because at the Oscars, people give usually pretty important speeches, and to do to like cut away from something emotional like that to John Lithgow looking disappointed would be maybe a little bit inappropriate.
Yeah, the publicists of the actors would be absolutely furious. They would be ringing up the Oscar producers every day. So,
All press is good press, man.
well, Amelia Perez would beg to differ. But
Emilia, Emilia.
if you think of Conan's joke for Carlos Sofia Gascon, we knew something was coming. Something had
Hardcore.
to be said.
He went for it. Went for the
He
jugular.
did. It wasn't that hardcore though. She wasn't like made the butt of the joke too much.
I suppose. It's still like attacking the subject head on,
True.
Like it was on the nose enough to where they didn't cut to her when he made the joke. They cut to her when he mentioned that she was there. And then she got like a very resounding applause that she was present. Which is interesting.
Gave her an applause, and then she afterwards, when he did the second part of like, "Oh, if you're going to tweet about this, remember I'm Jimmy Kimmel," which that was a fun little joke to tag on there.
Sure.
But then they showed her, and she did like a thank you gesture, which, yeah, again, I don't know the language disparity too. If she even knew like what the joke exactly was that he was saying, but she seemed to roll with the punches there. So,
yeah.
And she had to know going in like something's going to get brought up about it.
Yeah.
So she, I'm sure, was practicing her response there.
Certainly.
To make sure it was very measured.
Emilia, Emilia. Best documentary short went to The Only Girl in the Orchestra, which I think is what I said would win.
I think you did, and I should have went for it too because I'm like they always go for the music related ones.
Yeah, they do.
I think I went for the Warden. I'm Ready Warden. So, oh well. Missed that one. Best documentary feature went to No Other Land.
Very
Hazel,
important.
Adra, Hamden, Bilal, Yuval, Abraham, and Rachel Zor.
That's awesome.
It was great, and they gave a great speech. I also thought it was fascinating that because they were so far back that as they were walking up, you were able to see so many people's reactions to them and their win, and then there have been things about that online afterwards of like who stood, who didn't, who clapped, who didn't. But overall, like they got a very warm reception in there. And some people were thinking that it wouldn't be the case based on the subject matter, but no, I think everyone was very happy for them. Hopefully, it will get U.S. distribution now because we can't even see this film, and it won an Oscar. So
isn't that crazy? Best visual effects, Dune Part 2. One of only 2 wins for Dune Part 2.
Indeed, the other was Best Sound. Dune Part 2 victorious on both those fronts. I think you deviated here with Best Sound. I think you wanted to go a complete unknown to throw a curveball. So.
Yeah, because usually they give it to the music stuff. I thought they would do that this time since they already awarded Dune Part 1 with so much. Mm-hmm. And I was kind of right in the sense that Dune Part 2 got significantly less awards than Dune Part 1.
That is true. It very much did. Best live action short. I'm Not a Robot ended up winning. This is what we predicted based on it being the only film I had seen of all the live action shorts.
That's awesome.
Which is crazy. And it was not the front runner at all. Like, again, the people I was with, Alien, and The Man Who Cannot Remain Silent, like these were apparently the front runners there. I'm Not a Robot was not.
Did you say Alien?
Discussion. Yeah.
It's Alien.
Alien. I have no idea. People have said it various different ways.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, never mind. I take it back. I take back my correction. Best international feature, I'm Still Here, Walter Salles for Brazil.
Which
overtook the previous frontrunner, Emilia Perez.
It sure did. That was super cool to see. Again, I think, did we both predict it? That the momentum would overtake it?
Yeah. 100%.
So, absolutely great to see. It was on both of our top 10 lists. So, very much well-deserved. Go and see it if you have not yet.
Yeah.
Best original score. Daniel Blumberg for The Brutalist. Taking the win.
Did you like my text, Ryan? You didn't get it at first?
No, I did not. I was like, what is he talking about? You said Nosferatu won for Best Original Score. And I was like, what? And then I was like, oh, I see.
Because Daniel Blumberg just
looks like a
bald and pale and very skinny and tall.
Yeah. And that's not, like, other people had said that too. And I'm like, well, that's crazy. This observation. So it's gotten to him, I'm sure, at some point. So hopefully he's happy with being compared to a vampire. Before we move into the final categories, what did you think? Because there's all this hoopla beforehand of the whole Fab Five presenting approach for Best Actor, Best Actress, and they didn't do that again because they didn't want someone to have to go up there and do all these superlatives for Carla Sofia Gascon. However, they just had the presenters for Best Supporting Actor and Best Supporting Actress just go up there and do the same thing, basically, of like shouting out each individual nominee and giving them praise. So we had RDJ, first presenter of the night, come out there and just, again, shout out to each one of them. So what do you think of that approach and them not, keeping that consistent when it came to the Best Actor and Best Actress categories?
Again, I still really like the Fab Five approach. Always have, always will. I like the idea of previous winners of that award coming forward and like welcoming a new member into that community of actors, of people who've won that award. I just like that approach. I think it's fun. I think it's like nice to see all, because they did the Fab Five thing for costume design. I think they had people from each of the movies come out to speak about their movie. And I liked that too. I just like the idea of more people coming out to do this presentation. As long as they can keep it brief and keep it moving, I like it.
Key word there. I liked with the costume design because they came out in, the costumes or things that are inspired by
very brief though.
Behind it, they had what the costumes were, but it wasn't brief. Like they did a little bit, and then they went into talking about each of the movies.
I think the bit was too much.
You gotta keep it pushing. Same thing with some of the like the interviews that they had done for the original song. And they did another Fab Five later on for a different tech category. And I was like, again, in theory, I kind of like it, but just it was best cinematography, I think. And I was like, guys, just show the clips of the movie. And this is my same thing with the actors. I'm like, just show us a clip, let the work speak for itself. Like I do like hearing about the praise and like getting the perspective on why they did some of these things or how other actors are receiving that work. But we have interviews for that. We have the roundtables at Variety and Hollywood Report and all that for these things. Show us the clips. Show us
Mm-hmm.
the big the scene that got them nominated for whatever the thing is. Because they were inconsistent with that throughout the whole film or the whole show Oscar ceremony as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I prefer the clips. Like I just wish we would have gotten that for the actors, especially, and for some of those categories, cinematography as well.
Yeah.
But some of them, like those costumes, again, I do like that in concept. It was
Yeah.
too drawn out.
I'm not the biggest fan of the clips because they'll show the clip of them doing like a very emotionally powerful scene, and it'll cut to the actor, and there'll just be like a moment of silence, and the actor just doesn't know what to do because they're like, "Yeah, that was me. That was me up there screaming my head off in the scene."
Yeah, but it's the same thing when they're just getting showered by praise with someone who they may or may not know. Like, and that's a funny thing too. Like with the Fat Five, sometimes they'll try and pick someone that was relevant to them, but with this, again, RDJ and Devendra Randolph, it's like they may have not worked with these people
Mhm.
before,
I
and
still
I'm
think it's
sure they
nice.
did their diligence and saw the movies and tried to come up with something for it. But it's like, okay, you're getting praise because like everyone has to get praise here, you know how much it's worthwhile or not. And then for me specifically, like having everyone look at me as someone's talking about me and trying to praise me, that's even worse. I think. Like at least I'm not on screen. I guess you are on screen if there's a clip, but at least it's like okay, that was in the past and that was the work, and also everyone's seen it because it's part of the movie. It's not me having to sit there and be like smiling and nodding as someone's talking about me. So I prefer the clips for
Nah,
that reason as well.
I think if it's genuine and it's heartfelt, I think compliments superior to clips. I think it's you're right. If it's somebody they don't know and they're just throwing like very simple observations about their performance that are not very deep or anything, like you provided such depth to this character. You know, it's like yeah, you're just recycling old compliments that you've given to 100 other people. But I think when it's heartfelt, like RDJ talking about Jeremy Strong, I
Hmm.
think things like that I think are far superior than just watching a clip of them doing their work.
Sure, but yeah, those are like just in specific moments of a presenter and a nominee having that great connection, which won't be there for all of them. And then again, it's like we don't even get to see what made this big impact on either the actor who's presenting it or the awards body that nominated the work.
Yeah,
So, and especially, for us, we saw every Best Picture nominee. We saw most of the nominees for all these other categories as well. So we saw the work, but for people that are not as well attuned to what's going on and seeing all the movies, then I think having some clips there would be beneficial for them, so they can be like, okay, now I know why, maybe a little bit of why this was actually nominated
yeah,
by seeing it for myself.
yeah.
But that aside, since we don't run the Oscars, Best Director, the nominees: Coralie Farge, Jacques Audiard, James Mangold, Brady Corbet. But the victor was Sean Baker for Honora. We
Hell
both
yeah, great
should
speech.
win and will win for this one. And he did give a great speech. Again, he was talking about the need for theaters, the need for parents to bring their kids to theaters, um, and again, trying to preserve that communal experience, which 100%, I think it is very necessary. And we do need to have like collective conversations about etiquette in theaters. But yeah, as far as like the champion of independent film, Sean Baker has been singing that tune for decades now, and
Mhm.
this is a great achievement on top of that, and him finally getting recognized for all that fantastic work. It is so great to see.
Oh yeah, absolutely loved it. Best actor went to Adrian Brody for The Brutalist in a somewhat tight race between him and Timmy T.
Hmm.
Uh, I think it's a deserved win. I think he does a good performance, but I still think I would have liked to see Coleman Domingo or Ray Fiennes take it. Of the ones that I saw, I didn't see Timothy in A Complete Unknown, and I've heard good things, but I still would have preferred Coleman Domingo or Ray Fiennes to win it over Adrian Brody.
Hmm.
But damn, what a speech!
What
Longest
a
Oscar speech in history.
long speech. It
Told
was
them
funny
turn
too,
off the music. Turn it off.
which was
I've done this before.
crazy, crazy. So in my Oscars watch party, you and I did not watch it together. Uh, there was some heckling going on at Brody because partially because of
The gum.
no, although that was a very odd bit. I didn't even see that because again we were talking so much about whether Brody or Chalamet should win, and it was based on again the predictions that people had done. I think part of it, and also the other part of it was uh, his the scandal of the Hungarian accent and being supported by AI on that front apparently. So there was some backlash to him for that.
Sure.
So it started again immediately with him getting called the victor, even though it was pretty much obvious. I mean, it was aside from SAG, Adrian Brody was cleaning up pretty much all the awards bodies.
Mm-hmm.
So from the get go, it was like he was getting heckled. But then because he took so long with that speech, it was what 5.5 minutes, almost 6 minutes.
Yeah.
It just got to a point where people kept being like, "Come on, play him off, play him off." So I couldn't even hear most of what he was saying. I was having to read the like subtitles there. But even I, who generally I'm like, yes, like let them speak, let them say what they want to say. This is their big moment, like all this. Uh, the career has been leading to this moment. But even with Adrian Brody, before they had started playing the music, I was like, this is taking a while.
Mm-hmm.
Like they need to start playing him off or giving him a nudge or something.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally did, and he immediately was like, "Turn it off."
And they did. They did
And they
turn it
did, yeah.
off.
And I thought that was crazy
They
because we
bowed to
saw
Adrian Brody's whim.
earlier in the night, and this always happens, but it's when multiple people go up for best sound or best VFX. Dude, they hate Dune. They hate Dune so bad because
Mm-hmm.
the three of them that went up for each of those awards, they didn't let the last person speak.
Yeah.
They got cut off, and they were only like a minute, I think,
The
total,
technical awards always get cut quick.
which
And
is so
the shorts and stuff.
terrible.
Yeah. Do you remember when they
Because
were
again,
gonna just do most of those categories during the commercial breaks and then just show the
I know, and
highlights?
then they got backlash as
Yeah.
they should for it. They just need to do a better job of again. It needs to be entertaining. You need to have people watching it. So the bits, okay, we get it. That makes sense. But again, an 8-minute tribute to James Bond. Could we
Kind
have
of long.
cut one song? Did Ray need to be there alongside Doja Cat and Lisa? I'm not sure. So yeah, it's always frustrating that happens. But then when Adrian Brody gets up there and speaks uninterrupted for 3 minutes, and then he finally gets the music, and then he says, "No, turn it off." I was like, "That's insane." And then he talks for like 2 more minutes.
Yeah, that is
I was
crazy.
like, "Start playing him off again." Like, what's going on? It was also too because he talks slowly and deliberately, and you would think it's because he has maybe a speech prepared, but it didn't seem like he did, and he's been winning this whole time. So you would think he would have something prepared so that he could be just very straightforward and deliver it and enjoy the moment. And as he said, he's been up there before. Maybe I want to go back and rewatch his first Oscar win to see how
It's
someone
also a
who
very hectic speech
is it
because
well
it
he did the
starts with him
whole Halle
kissing
Berry
Halle
kiss,
Berry. Yeah,
yeah, which she got him back apparently on the
yeah.
red carpet
I
for
was
his.
really hoping she would be announcing Best Actor. I thought that'd be really funny if they redid it,
um,
but she did a different category.
but yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's your moment, so I guess go
Mm-hmm.
up there and do it. But I don't know that comment too of like, oh, I've been here before. Turn the music off. I'll be brief. All that. I'm like, I don't know. That kind of rubbed me the wrong
Mm-hmm.
way. Again, taking
Yeah,
so long as well to be saying ultimately, with respect to Adrian Brody, things that weren't of substance. Like towards the end, again, he was just finding things to say and finding people to thank. So he didn't have a very specific, directed message. Which, if you're gonna, hold the floor, the speaking floor for minutes on ends at the Oscars, I feel like you should have something like an overall point that you're getting to.
like Sean
But
Baker.
exactly, and he had it written out and was delivering and everything. And it's like that was great.
Yeah.
So, all right, let's move on to Best Actress. We had Mikey Madison as the winner, beating
Yes.
out Demi Moore.
Dude, this was the most tense part of the night for me, man. I really wanted Mikey Madison to win. I was on the edge of my seat.
I know it was because this was the tightest race by far, and we didn't know which way it was going to go. There was strong narratives on each side, but yeah, Mikey Madison, who we both said ultimately we both did give the would win because I think we're a little biased there because we both thought she should win,
Yeah.
and thankfully she did. So well
Yes.
deserved. Awesome to see.
Great win.
And,
So great.
and now, Best Picture. We had as the nominees Wicked, The Substance, Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, Amelia Perez, Dune Part 2, Conclave, A Complete Unknown, and The Brutalist. But the winner, inevitably, was Anora.
Fucking sweep, bro. Huge sweep.
The Anora sweep, 5 out of 6. It had all the Sean Baker nominees that he got. He won all those categories.
4 Oscars for one
Madison,
man.
lead actress, and then Anora as Best Picture. So a phenomenal night.
Awesome
for him, for Mikey Madison, for Neon.
Yeah, man. After 0 wins at the Golden Globes, this is the comeback I needed.
Dude, it was insane to see it. Like before it started, it was the front runner, and then Brutalist came in, and then Amelia Perez somehow came in, and so like it sort of fell off a little bit. Golden Globes, it took no wins. Then it came back, DGA, PGA, WGA, and then BAFTA as well. It started to get some stuff. Mikey Madison winning there, but it won nothing else at BAFTA. It only got Best Actress, and then SAG, it went home empty-handed. So it was just a wild up and down race for Anora. It was
great,
and ended up coming out on top.
Absolutely.
So great stuff there. Now let's go to our Oscar draft and figure out the results here. So the nominations, there were 35 points for me and 22 points for you heading into the ceremony.
Yes.
And now looking at the post-ceremony, again, 3 points for a win. So go ahead and list off how many wins your films got there.
Anora won 5 awards, and Amelia Perez won 2.
Indeed. Brutalist won 3. Wicked won 2. Conclave won a single award. Dune Part 2 won 2. And A Real Pain had 1 win. So that means the total wins on Oscar night for my roster was 9. And for you, Dylan,
7.
What was it? 7. Crazy. So
should have picked the Complete Unknown, man.
It wouldn't have helped.
It wouldn't have helped, but it would have been less of a loss.
That is true. So as far as the total points, Dylan, your nomination total plus your win total brings you to
43 points.
And then my nominations plus the wins brings me to 62 points. So that is a victory for me.
Yeah.
But it was close.
I'm coming back with a vengeance, though. I'm winning the box office draft. I'm beating you when you have Avatar. I'm going to crush you.
That will not happen.
I feel like it's going to happen, and I'm going to come back for you at the Oscars next year.
We'll see.
I'm going to try even harder.
2 in a row.
Fuck this shit, bro. I know. I hate it.
I was burned by the Everything Ever All at Once year. I was upset, and so I said, "That's it. We're coming in."
I have to go hard on the technicals next year.
And taking the wins. So
I'm learning, and I'm getting better. I beat you at the box office draft because I'm learning and getting better. I'm going to do it again this year, even though you have Avatar.
The Barbenheimer luck, and then Inside Out 2 blowing up like crazy. Okay,
I'm learning. I'm getting better.
And flukes.
I'm adapting. And now I'm going to do the same thing. 2 losses in a row for the Oscar draft. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to learn.
I didn't think so. I'm taking the box office draft again this year. We're bringing it back.
Nope.
Bring the belt back to me.
Nope.
And then Oscar draft, I'm going to go for a 3-peat. So let's look at the stats here. This is the first time that both of our rosters were able to get more than 2 wins each in the ceremony. That had never happened before. So this is at least us individually getting a hefty amount of awards. That is pretty great. Of the categories that are relevant to the draft, there are 18 categories that are relevant to the draft. We swept. We had 16 combined wins.
Hell yeah.
Same as last year. So there's not much room. I mean, again, if you had gotten 2 more wins, we would have been tied there. But ultimately, that's like the ceiling is 18 in the Oscar draft.
Mm-hmm.
So we did about as good as you can. Again, only makeup and hair and best international film were the films that we had missed. And then the other
Mm-hmm.
ones, the documentary and the shorts categories, obviously don't apply. Once again, whoever led in points following the nominations and before the actual award ceremony was the ultimate victor of the draft. However, for the first time ever, the person with the most awarded film on their roster lost the draft. So in 2022, Dune was the most awarded film, and it powered me to a win. Everything Ever All at Once was the most awarded film in 2023, and it powered you to a win.
Absolutely.
Oppenheimer last year, of course, Juggernaut. And this year, Honora is the most awarded film with 5 wins.
I just had
But
bad picks this year, man.
it wasn't
God,
enough.
so sad. I should have picked a complete unknown in the substance, man. I feel like such an idiot. So stupid. So fucking stupid. 10 nominations for a complete unknown? Stupid.
Was it
It was
10? I
eight.
thought it was
I think
8.
it was eight. It might have been eight. Still, eight is a lot.
That's true.
5 nominations for the substance and a win. That's also 8 points. That would have been 16 points more.
And
Well,
we'll see
if you
whether that
take
would have.
out Gladiator 2, which only had one, it was like a difference of like 15 points, which would have been like neck and neck. You
Very
still would
true.
have won, but it would have been fucking close. It wouldn't have been a blowout.
Very true.
Fuck.
As far as having the movie with the most nominees on your roster, it is helpful, but it's no guarantee. It's actually a 50% win rate. Because in 2022, if you remember, Dune wasn't the leading nominee. It was Power of the Dog,
Mm-hmm.
which you had, and you
Yeah.
lost that year. The following year, Everything Ever All at Once was the most nominated, and you won.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, Oppenheimer was the most nominated, and it powered me to win. This year, it was Amelia Perez. And of course, it was not able to bring you to a victory. So there we go. But how close was this race, Dylan?
It was the closest outcome yet, which is surprising because 19 is still a pretty big gap. The previous closeness was a difference of 24 points from our first draft in 2022.
Exactly. So again, back then that felt like a blowout. And it until this year was actually our closest. So again, normally it's been huge blowouts.
Yeah.
But this time again it was fairly close. Again, you would still need a hefty amount. Yeah, you need 7 wins in order to 7 more wins in order to take the victory. So tough to overcome, but definitely we're getting closer and closer. It feels like.
Mm-hmm.
This was the highest runner-up point total so far. Again, you had 43 points. Previously, you had 38 points last year, and that was the record. As far as winning points, this year is behind both last year for me, where I had 77 points, the all-time record, and then you with Everything Ever All at Once in the 2023 draft, you had 64 points. So just barely. I wasn't able to overtake that.
Yeah.
But 62 points, not so shabby. As far as lifetime point tallies, after 4 drafts, Dylan, how many you got?
167 points.
And then for me, 216.
I'm coming back with a vengeance. I'm gonna blow you out next year, bro.
We'll see. But definitely, right now it's 3-1 in our Oscar drafts. I'm gonna go for a three-peat. I'm gonna look to expand my records here. Again, I don't know that the 77-point winner will ever be taken down. That'd have to be like a huge sweep and a catastrophic blowout with a couple of goose eggs in your roster. But yeah, I'm quite satisfied right now with how this went. Again, even though you swept with Honora, I was like, nope, we've got enough wins here. My Wicked bet was very solid. Dune Part 2 keeping me afloat. Again, each of my films had a victory. I didn't look at the stats for that. That may be a record as well. So I'm feeling good. Feeling good about the Oscar draft.
I'm glad.
All right, let's head into our bonus categories here. Our bonus awards, bonus Oscars, our Boxies, whatever you want to call it. We have various categories here, like most beautiful shots, best line of dialogue, best trailer, so on and so forth. So we'll go through each of those. Dylan, do you have your nominees selected?
I do, and my winners.
Beautiful. All right, let me pull up mine here so we can get things going. But as far as the first category, most beautiful shot,
Mm-hmm.
what are your nominations?
We have from Nosferatu, The Carriage in the Snow. From Conclave, the Cardinals walking around the fountain with the umbrellas. The
Nice.
Brutalist, the wide shot of the construction of the center that they're building with the backlighting, where you can see all the construction on the mountain top, and there's the backlighting of the sun setting behind it. Nosferatu once again with the hand coming across the city, and the shot from Nickel Boys of the one boy boxing in the ring when there's nobody in the crowd, and Hamish Linklater is there standing in the ring, sort of menacingly watching him box. It's one of those ethereal moments of the film.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great shot.
Very
What are your
nice.
nominations, Ryan?
My nominations are from The Brutalist, the opening shot that ends in the inverse Statue of Liberty.
Mm-hmm.
From Nosferatu, Nicholas Hoult in the street before the horse-drawn carriage comes by at nighttime. Also from Nosferatu, the shadow of the hand extending over the city.
All right.
From Blitz, there's a shot where there's specks of light in the water being reflected, and then they sort of get stretched out, almost like you're going into hyperspace, something like that. And as we continually speed up and the lights get warped, we suddenly see the shadow of a bomber plane over the water.
Whoa.
Which, again, just on aesthetics alone was great, but the revelation, which is basically that there's another bomb raid coming, was pretty spectacular. So I really like that shot. And then from Megalopolis, the silhouettes of cowering bodies on the skyscrapers as the meteorites are falling, meteors raining down. I thought that was pretty spectacular. There's a bit of a theme here of shadows and either skyscrapers or statues of liberty, things over cities. So interesting.
Grandeur of some kind.
But what is your winner?
It's going to be The Carriage in the Snow from Nosferatu, where it's the same nominee as your shot of Nicholas Hoult in the street, and it pans over to the carriage, and the carriage slowly opens forward. I think the backlighting of like the very bright blue light behind both Nicholas Hoult and the carriage, as well as the snow falling, I think everything is just so compositionally beautiful in the shot, so haunting, so terrifying. I love it.
Yeah, it's spectacular. Again, our mutual nominee there. However, I'm not giving the win to that shot.
Wow.
I'm giving to another shot from Nosferatu. The hand, the shadow of the hand extending over the city. Just incredible. And then in the actual movie itself as well, it's even better. It starts within that apartment and goes over his shoulder, and then we see the city, and it's just so like haunting, but so immaculately composed as well. And again, just the concept of it is brilliant, of like the evil literally that he is spreading throughout the city. Just magnificent. So that is my victor for
it's a good choice.
Beautiful shot.
Nosferatu should have won best cinematography, man.
That was both of our should wins ultimately. Yeah.
Now the best line of dialogue, Ryan. What are your nominees here?
All right, my nominees are from Twisters. If you feel it, chase it. The theme for my best line of dialogue here this year was just things that are memorable, like things that are actually going to stick with me and that I may quote. And we quote, if you feel it, chase it in real life a lot, despite the fact that you still haven't seen that movie. Is that right?
This is correct. I have not seen the movie.
Okay. Well, once you feel it, Dylan, you need to chase it and watch that film. All right. From A Real Pain. My pain is unremarkable, so I don't feel the need to burden everyone with it. Which on two fronts, I think works well. Because on one hand, it's like, okay, that kind of makes sense. I'm like, yeah, like everyone else is going through tough things just like you. So again, don't like overly make yourself the center of attention there and uh, make it seem like you are the only person dealing with stuff. But on the other hand, it's fascinating because uh, needing to burden everyone with it, if you feel that way, you might also just never be vulnerable and open up to people, which can cause some issues as well. So again, there's just the whole character there of Kieran Culkin, where he is, on one hand, able to connect well with people, um, but on the other hand, can be so uh, selfish at times and make everyone else uncomfortable when he has those outbursts. I just think it's like that specific line of dialogue. There's a interesting distillation of like the case study on that character and how someone like that operates as a whole. Um, and again, how Jesse Eisenberg is sort of the foil to that. So really liked that dialogue from Monkey Man. A little curveball in here. The pain will leave you once it's finished teaching you. The pain will leave you once it's finished teaching you. From Conclave, I've mentioned this one various times. With certainty, there's no doubt. Without doubt, there's no mystery. Without mystery, there's no faith. Let us pray for a pope who doubts. Which I thought was a great way to, again, just give some single observation that stands well, but within the context of the film and of Lawrence, of Ray Fiennes' character, his whole approach, and why he's so willing to try and root out all these pope contenders that aren't actually up to snuff and won't really help move the Catholic Church forward. So I thought that was a very well observed dialogue there. And finally, Megalopolis. Don't let the now destroy the forever. Ain't that the truth? That's one that's already got beaten down into you from like the trailers and everything. It's one of the snippets that they play over and over again, and it comes up a lot in the movie. But I true that. Don't let the now destroy the forever. I think always a critical lesson to keep at heart. For your nominees for best line of dialogue, what are they?
From A Real Pain, we have how did the product of 1,000 fucking miracles overdose on a bottle of sleeping pills? I think I think that kind of like encapsulates Kieran Culkin's character in a lot of ways, that he is this creation of so many wonderful things, and the product with which you end up with is like self-aware of how disappointing its reality is, but also very real and accepting of it in a lot of ways.
Nice.
From Twisters, if you feel it, chase it. Didn't even see the movie, but it is a great line of dog. If you feel it, chase it.
That's awesome.
This one's a bit of a cheat. It's not the best line of dialogue. It's most certainly probably the best line delivery, though. From Honora, fuck your boss.
Okay.
Great line, great delivery. Works perfectly in the movie. Also a bit of a cheat. From Memoir of a Snail, life can only be understood backwards, but we have to live it forwards. It is technically a quote from Kierkegaard. So it is not an original quote from the movie. However, I'm including it because I think its application into the film itself and its insertion into the film itself is absolutely wonderful, and it encapsulates a lot of what the movie's trying to say. It's also the tagline for the movie on the poster.
Oh, long tagline.
And finally, I am including a Megalopolis quote. I considered putting the one that you had, because I don't think it's a terrible quote, but it's not one that stays in my memory very much. And I was also considering putting John Voight saying, "How do you like my boner?" But I think
I thought you were going to put that one.
I think that line only works best in the context of knowing that it's actually a crossbow that is under the blanket. So I didn't put that one either. Instead, to me, the most iconic line is from Aubrey Plaza saying, "You're anal as hell, Caesar. I, on the other hand, immoral as hell."
Okay. So
wonderful dialogue.
Facetious there with your pick, but
it's a good line. What are you talking about?
Straight up classic, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. My winner is from Conclave. Without doubt, there's no mystery, no faith. Let us pray for a pope who doubts.
I had a feeling you'd pick that one. Absolutely. My winner is A Real Pain. How did the product of a thousand fucking miracles overdose on a bottle of sleeping pills?
Nice. There were a lot of good contenders there. I had
Mm-hmm.
like that whole dialogue at the dinner.
Yeah.
Plenty to choose from there, and then also the like rooftop heart to heart that they have later
Mm-hmm.
on. There's so many good little bits there.
Yeah.
All right, nice. Let's see our next category: best tearjerker moment. Dylan, what are your nominees?
They're gonna be. This one's gonna be hard. You never watched Memoir of a Snail, did you?
I did not.
I can't spoil it then. So, I have a lot of nominees here. I have 3 nominees for Memoir of a Snail because I cried 4 times in the movie and 3 of them made it in to the nominations.
Nice.
But I don't want to spoil the movie for you, so I'm gonna start by saying Nickel Boys, Elwood's death, tearjerker moment,
All
and
right.
then How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. You watched that one, right?
Yes, I sure did.
The
Spoilers
scene,
for all of these if you guys haven't watched it to our
yes,
listeners.
the scene at the end where he like gets the call from the bank, finding out he has an account, and he sees like him and the grandma walking down the street when he was a kid, and he sees like her telling him that he's going to save money for him, and realizing that all the work she did at the uh like selling the fruit and stuff and like the food was money that was put aside for him specifically,
Mm-hmm.
and realizing that she did like care for him regardless of how he treated her. She still was going to leave him something. That yeah, it always gets me. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then my 3 nominations for Memoir of Us Now, I will say the ending, which doesn't spoil anything. I will say 2 more moments that I can't say out loud because
Okay.
I guess you could uncover your headphones and I can say it out loud for the audience.
All right.
All right, take your headphones off. My 2 other nominees, without spoiling it for Ryan, are going to be the moment in Memoir of a Snail when the 2 kids are separated from one another, which, I mean, just tears me to shreds. And then the moment in Memoir of a Snail where Gilbert dies is also very, very tragic, where he burns to death. And that whole sequence of like finding out that he's dead, I mean, it's just heartbreaking that they were supposed to come together and they never did. So those are my nominees for best tearjerker moment. Ryan, what are your nominees?
All right. My nominees are Honora, the ending. I'm surprised this didn't pop up on yours.
I mean, I'm talking like these 5 moments made me
Bawling.
actually cry.
Okay.
I shed at least one single tear. I did not shed a tear at Honora. It was definitely sad, but it did not make me cry. These
Okay.
like, especially the Memoir of a Snail moments and How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies. I was very sad in Nickel Boys at the very end. It was very haunting, and it did bring me to like cry a little. But I was bawling at these other 4 nominees, like full tears.
Gotcha. Yeah, for me, no true tear shed, but lump in the throat and watering eyes. That's the benchmark there. And so Nora
You
definitely
have no soul.
my eyes watering. Wild Robot,
Mm-hmm.
when I guess it's spoilers, so if you haven't seen that, look out. But yeah, when the bird starts flying off and Roz runs after him to see him go, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
dang, it was very well done. Inside Out 2, when anxiety is stuck at the console in pain and she's like freaking out and looks over to Joy. It seemed like a really heavy moment for that film, like that animated film. I was like,
Mm-hmm.
this is intense and like
Yeah.
again just disturbing, almost the like panicked look that she had there. So giving a nod to that. Then I have 2 from Dee Dee. And like you, I was like, do I give a triple nomination to a film? Because it was possible with Dee Dee. Like it was very much in the running to get that. Honestly, there were 4 moments that
Mm-hmm.
happened as well. And so I settled on the argument between the mom and Nai Nai, which
Mm-hmm.
Wang Wang is overhearing, and then the final scene, the final shot, basically between the mom and Wang Wang at the dinner table, which is very much elevated by the context of the heart to heart that the mom and Wang Wang have a little
Mm-hmm.
earlier in the film.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just so powerful. Again, it's like that whole thing is him feeling so ashamed and looking for, again, acceptance or love from other places.
Mm-hmm.
And he had it at home with his mom.
Yeah.
And so you get to see that love like pouring out from her, and then you see him as well, just sort of give like a curious look of like, what are you looking at? But again, to her, she's looking at like the most beautiful thing in the world. So beautiful stuff. Um,
Mm-hmm.
your winner, Dylan. I'm assuming it's a memoir of a snail.
It is. It is the ending for Memoir of a Snail.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I don't want to give too much away, but the other two nominees that you didn't hear, they were very much like sad tears, like crying because like it is sad. In that moment, I'm very sad.
Mm-hmm.
But the ending was a cathartic cry. You know, the movie comes together and it closes, and I cry because of that. And it just feels good. It feels good to cry out of catharsis and not just sadness. And I
Nice.
feel the same way about. I think my runner-up for the nomination was the "How to Make Millions Before Grandma Dies" cry, because I think that's also a cry of catharsis, of like
Mm-hmm.
realization and acceptance, and not just grief. So
Nice. Yeah. My
definitely
my
Memoir of a Snail.
victor is similar to yours of like that last shot in Dee I think would
Mhm.
be the winner there. And again, it's like a moment of catharsis and like all that meaningful build up throughout the rest of the film of this relationship. Just a beautiful, quiet like display of it. Um, and it hits so hard.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to best 2024 trailer. My nominees are the Furiosa trailer, number
Mhm.
one, the Alien Romulus official trailer, the one where at the end it's like has the title cards coming in of like in space, no one can hear you, and then it has the sound drop out when the one lady screams. A Megalopolis trailer, yeah, another nomination. Again, I was hyped up. It was like my most anticipated film in the trailer because it had all the coolest shots in the film in there. I was like, oh snap, this is gonna be great. The Wild Robot first trailer where no one talks, and it's just the song playing over it. And then finally, 28 years later, which again, very uh, compelling music choice there. It's just that poem that they have playing over everything. Very striking imagery, minimal plot info. That's sort of the theme here is give me vibes, don't give me spoilers.
Yeah.
How about your nominees?
My nominees, I think this category is biased in a lot of ways. I think for movies that I really enjoy, I forget about the trailer because even if I'm hyped for the movie, like I'm so much more in love with the movie itself than I was for the trailer, so I just kind of forget about it. But for movies that I end up not liking, if I got hyped because of the trailer, it's more memorable to me because I'm like, man, what a disappointment. The trailer was really good, so I remember it more. So I think in the past and this year certainly as well, my nominees for this category are always movies that I'm a little bit disappointed by. But I'm going to go with, here are my nominees: Joker 2, I think, had a very phenomenal and encapsulating trailer that did very much give me vibes and not too much plot, and sold me on really wanting to see the movie. Long Legs, once again, gave a lot of really good vibes to how creepy and the aesthetic of the film, and really also engaged me with it.
Mm-hmm.
Furiosa, a trailer that I did not like at first, but upon seeing it in the theaters, it was full glory. Got me very, very hyped for the movie that ended up being very disappointing. Trap, a movie that you sent the trailer to me, and I was like,
Yes.
okay, M. Night Shyamalan is back, baby. He's back at it again, and he's finally back in the business. And my last nominee, The Brutalist, a movie whose trailer it took so long for that trailer to come out. And I had already been hyped for the movie, and then it finally dropped, and I was like, all right, I'm sold. I'm going to love this movie. Then I
Nice.
didn't, but I did love the trailer.
My winner is 28 years later.
Mhm.
It's it was just extremely good. One of
It's
the
solid.
most well crafted trailers I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah. For
How about you?
me, it's Trap.
Trap. There we go.
I think that trailer was just so sick. The mid trailer reveal that Josh Hartnett is the killer they're hunting is great. It is such a great reveal. And like, yes, I agree with you that vibes are better than plot details, but that is like the plot of the movie. And instead of like dropping that at the beginning of the trailer, to have that twist within the trailer is such an M. Night Shyamalan move, and it sells the idea of the movie so well. And like the way they reveal it of just like his eyes on the phone watching his victim, and then like it like very narrowly brings in the letterboxing on the image over his eyes only, and then fades the whole thing like a red wash. It's great.
Very true. All right, let's move on to most tense white knuckle moment.
Mm-hmm.
My nominees are Dune 2, riding the sandworm sequence, especially starting out with that thumping at the beginning. Very well done. Civil War, the Jesse Plemons scene. What kind of American are you? I mean, very classic. Shout out to Gladiator 2. Again, the moment, they actually don't capitalize on it very well, but I did like low key get to the edge of my seat when it's the flooded Colosseum and the boats are getting close to the emperors and Lucius is about to take a shot and ultimately does like take a shot. I thought it was a great buildup. Again, execution didn't quite land all the way. Rebel Ridge, line of dialogue here when he's he stopped by a police officer and he didn't turn on the police lights, and the officer says to him, when you turn on the disco lights, that's when the dash cam starts. And then they exchange a look, and then the cop pulls out a gun and tries to shoot Terry in the face. So very intense moment there. Again, you know exactly what's coming when he says that line dialogue. And then Woman of the Hour, when in that parking lot scene when she's trying to get back to her car and he starts following her. That's all I'll say there. So those are my nominees. How about you, Dylan?
My nominees are I'm Still Here, the entire house arrest sequence of them kind of being stuck there while the husband's been taken and kind of building up to that, followed by immediately the interrogation sequence. Nickel Boys, the punishment scene, all the build up there is very, very tense. Alien Romulus, navigating through the sea of face huggers and not being able to sweat or anything, is a very good one. Civil War, the Jesse Plemons confrontation, of course. And the Seat of the Sacred Fig, where this is multiple scenes kind of, but the movie is about protests in Iran, and they do feature scenes where the main characters are looking at their phones and watching actual protest footage from Iran, and they show very, very graphic, fights that are going on at protests. Anytime they bring that footage up is very, very tense in the theater, of course, because it's real. It's real footage.
Gotcha. All right. My victor is Dune Part 2, the sandworm sequence, riding the sandworm.
All right.
How about you?
My winner is Civil War, the Jesse Plemons confrontation. What kind of American are you? It's great.
Exceptional, for sure. All right. Best use of music, Dylan. What are your nominees there?
My nominees are The Brutalists, the Upside Down Statue of Liberty, with their little iconic theme that goes there. A Real Pain, Benji playing the piano to end that dinner scene. I think having that be the reintroduction of his character in that scene after he blows up and runs away, I think it's great. Kinds of Kindness, Emma Stone dancing to Brand New Bitch at the end of the movie. It's fantastic. Honora, Greatest Day, being the song that's playing over them getting married and then like dancing in Vegas. Greatest day, shine out. Da, da, da. And then Memoir of a Snail, the use of the song Alouette, Alouette, je te Alouette, Alouette, je te plumerai. They use that multiple times throughout the movie. And it's like a big theme in the movie of like happiness and hope in their family. And I think it's great.
All right. There you go. For me, the nominees are Brutalist, that part for sure, when that score kicks in on the inverse. Statue of Liberty goes hard. Challengers, anytime they drop the music, any needle drop in that for sure, but especially Match Point, that one goes hard. I saw the TV Glow, the song about painting the ceiling black so she doesn't know if her eyes are open. That whole bit of just her being very like grungy and everything. I thought that was nice. Lion King, Mufasa Lion King. I put specifically the brother part of I've always wanted a brother. But that's ironic. In actuality, I do like that whole song, but the "Hey, did your mama say you could be out this late?" part is just so satisfying. You should go listen to that song. It's nice. Okay. And then Dune Part 2, the love theme between Paul and Chani, and specifically how it comes into play in the "Only I Will Remain" song that is the climax, basically. My victor is Dune Part 2, the love theme. It is sensational. It's fantastic. I listened to it all the time.
Sure.
And then how about you?
Anora, greatest day. I mean, it is just in terms of actually applying music to a scene, it's fantastic.
It is.
It's just so hype. They're married. They're having a great time. They're married. They're married. It's great.
All right, let's move on to best WTF moment. Dylan, your nominees.
The girl with the needle. This is actually a spoiler for you as well, so I can't say it. But towards the end of the movie, there's a scene with a baby. It's great. Kinds of Kindness, the entire dog society bit that ends the second part of the movie. Nice. is such a great, like, first off, the ending of that second part where she cuts out her organ and then the real Emma Stone shows up is already a what the fuck moment, and then immediately followed by like the black and white cuts of the dog society. It's great. The Substance, chicken thighs, where she pulls the chicken out of her belly button. The Substance again with the entire end sequence with Monstro Eliza Sue. And Alien Romulus, the offspring.
There you go. Alien Romulus, the offspring. Blitz. There's a moment where a kid and a train meet, and it's kind of crazy. The Substance, the Demi Moore goblin. Kinds of Kindness, when Jesse Plemons shoots someone's hand and then licks it. And then It's What's Inside, when some folks are getting it on a balcony, and then the balcony gives way. So those are my WTF moments. Dylan, your winner?
Monstro Eliza Sue. The entire end sequence of The Substance with the blood going everywhere. It's a great way to end the movie, and it is like the biggest what the fuck moment of the year for sure.
Yeah, I will ditto that. My Substance pick is the winner for WTF. Best LOL moments. My nominees are The Fall Guy, when the alien gets the bullhorn and starts speaking gibberish about because they were having the heart-to-heart of like, oh, you ever had that feeling when you're just not sure what's going on in your relationship, and then the alien he had to say some words, get some things off his chest. I thought it was great. The Real Pain, the oh snap at the Rwandan genocide, and then everything that followed that. Sonic 3, the dance sequence with Jim Carrey. Sonic continuing nominations in this category. Sonic 2 was nominated as well. Deadpool and Wolverine, the comic accurate Logan. Short King, love it. And then Trap. Jodie's mom and Jodie are yelling at each other. She calls her daughter, "You little beast," and then they instantly go back to dancing. And it's just this small little moment that cracked me up in the theaters. I have not seen that film since. I've not gone back to look at that clip since. I'm just going to forever keep in my mind as like a hilarious little moment that they had in that film. But the winner, because it did get a big laugh from me and my dad, the comic accurate Logan, Deadpool and Wolverine.
All right.
Your nominees, Dylan.
My nominees, really, I could say any moment from Hundreds of Beavers. It's hard to pick one down, but the entire trial sequence where he's got like the lawyer and the lawyer's dabbing his forehead because he's got a bad case. He doesn't know how to defend him. All of that bit is like the commitment to it being a trial is fantastic. Hitman, when Gary reveals that he isn't a killer after he finds out that Adria Arjona killed her husband. He goes, "I am not a killer," and she goes, "You what?" I think that all of that bit is great. Kinds of Kindness, when the dog kills himself. Jesus. Got such a laugh out of me in the theater because you're cutting through this dog society, which is already bizarre and funny. It was in the what the fuck moment nominees, and there's a dog and he's hung himself. I just think it's so funny. Another nominee that I almost put in here that didn't quite make it would have been Willem Dafoe standing up in one of those first scenes, and he has really short shorts on. Got a really big laugh out of me in the theaters too, but I did not nominate that one. In Anora, the entire "Please Stop Screaming" scene where he goes, "Please stop screaming."
That's pretty good.
And Megalopolis, Dustin Hoffman dying.
That's crazy. All right, and what's your winner?
It's going to be Anora, Please Stop Screaming. The whole sequence is fantastic.
Yeah, that was also one that I was like hard to pin down a specific thing, but it is quite funny throughout.
Please stop screaming.
Okay, let's do best fist pump moments. So my nominees are from Rebel Ridge, when he pumps out all the bullets from the shotgun and then throws the shotgun itself at the dude. That's pretty great. Deadpool and Wolverine, Blade's entrance. Never seen a Blade film in my life.
Oh,
That goes so hard. It was so
oh, I have to change my nominees. You're right. That is pretty fucking good.
Deadpool and Wolverine, when Wolverine puts on the mask, it's pretty hype. Again, this man's been playing Wolverine longer than we've been alive, and he finally gets to put on the comic accurate mask. It's pretty cool. Doom Part 2, when everyone kneels except Chani, Lady Jessica, and Princess Irulan. Oh, that goes so hard. And then Challengers, tennis ball POV shot.
Terrible.
Luca, you madman, you beautiful madman. Yes, that's what we need. Okay. Dylan, your nominees.
I changed mine. It's now Deadpool and Wolverine Blade entrance. You're right. That is absolutely a fist pump moment. Dune 2, when Paul Muad'Dib Atreides leads up the hill to lead the Fremen and they all cheer for him.
Oh, yeah.
It's a big fist bump moment. Challengers, the ending, when Zendaya goes, "Come on!" and then he leaps over the fence and then they grab each other. That is a fist bump. I don't like that movie that much, but that is a fist bump moment. Wicked, the whole defying gravity.
Oh, nice.
Partly, especially when she hits the high note, is a very good one. And the Wild Robot, which was your tearjerker moment. My fist pump moment was he finally flies. That is a hype moment for me. Bright Bill finally flying.
There you go. What is your winner?
Dune 2. Him walking out and the Freeman cheering for him. That part's epic.
My winner is Challengers, the tennis ball POV.
That's crazy.
Love it. It goes so hard.
I don't love it.
It is so cool. All right. Best action set piece.
Mm-hmm.
My nominees are Dune 2, the raid on the sand harvester, when it had the little crawly legs, and then Timmy Tim and Zendaya are trying to shoot down the helicopter. Twisters, the rodeo set piece. Leading to them taking cover in the drained pool. That was awesome. Monkey Man, when he goes full John Wick in the kitchen fight scene. Gladiator 2, the fight in the palace, like the hand-to-hand combat there, which was actually really well done, hand-to-hand combat. And then Furiosa, the raid on the war rig, the stowaway chapter specifically. Dylan, your nominees.
This one was tough because I didn't see that many action movies over the course of the year, and the ones that I did, I didn't particularly like the set pieces themselves, but I tried my best. We have Dune 2, Assault on the Spice Rig, same as you. It's fantastic. Civil War, the assault on the White House. I think there's a great action set piece at the end where they're charging the whole. It's like the production design, like the budget on it is insane, and they're like advancing just slowly forward and forward towards the White House is so cool. Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the initial assault in the beginning where the other apes invade our main character Apes' home and they burn it down to the ground. I think all of that was really awesome.
Nice.
Gladiator 2, Flooded Coliseum. Should I say more? No. And Hundreds of Beavers immediately after the trial, the flume fight when he's inside the beaver coliseum and he's in the flume and they're chasing him.
That is very good.
It's great.
Okay. And my winner is Furiosa, the raid on the war rig. Incredible. Truly incredible.
It is one of the better parts of that movie for sure, but I just, in good conscience, I did not like Furiosa enough to nominate it for a set piece award here. I'm giving it to Gladiator 2, the Flooded Coliseum. Wow, it's just so cool. The sharks. It's a great set piece.
It is pretty awesome. All right. And now we're at the creme de la creme, the big award for our Boxies best scene. My nominees are Conclave. You heard me talk about this one before. The moment of serenity before the vote. When the shadowed window is there and they can hear all the noises from the outside, the birds chirping, all that. And then they all take a breath before they vote. Beautiful. Nickel Boys. When we detach from the first person POV when he's in the whipping room. And then right after that, when we get the like extreme close-ups on all the black and white photos of the other boys that had gone through that school and experienced that same torture, basically. Red Rooms. I'm not going to talk too much about it because you still need to see this film, I believe. But the cosplay scene in the trial. Haunting, disturbing. Again, like I said, frown lines from this film. That movie is why. A Real Pain, the dinner scene. When Jesse Eisenberg goes on the monologue, but the whole moment before and then afterwards as well, as you mentioned, when Kieran Culkin comes back to the piano and all that. Sensational scene. And then Dune Part 2, Paul declaring himself Lisan al-Gaib before the Fremen. Those are my nominees. Dylan, how about you?
My nominees are Honora, when the goons show up at the house, that whole sequence of them trying to get her, trying to find out whether they're married and then realizing they are married, and then he runs off and they have Honora there and they're trying to keep her quiet and keep her from running away and they're trying to figure out what to do. It's a very, very long, like 20-something minute scene. The substance, the first time that Demi Moore uses the substance, that whole initial injection and like the crazy sort of visuals that they throw in there, and her eye separating into two eyes, and then her back splitting open and having like a body come out of it, and then like the revelation that Margaret Qualley is her in the same way, and seeing all of that together. A real pain, the dinner scene. It is just phenomenal the way they balance Benji and David's characters, and then after Benji leaves, David has his moment to sort of pop off about his frustrations with Benji and their history and all of that, and then Benji just sort of slides his way back into the scene by playing the piano and charming everybody once again. Nickel Boys, like you, that whole punishment scene where they are taking it out of that perspective and he is being tortured, and they have all these fantastic visuals, and then it cuts to the black and white images of the other boys who were tortured. And then Kinds of Kindness, the first scene where one of the first scenes where Jesse Plemons visits Willem Dafoe, and you sort of understand their character dynamics in that first section of the movie pretty quickly, where Willem Dafoe is asking him to multiple times leave the room and come back in and do it again, like a director kind of directing an actor. And then Willem Dafoe stands up and he's wearing short shorts.
Classic. Okay. My winner is Dune Part 2.
I know it.
Himself, Lisa Nalgabe. It was just so, again, seeing that the first time and knowing everything in any other film, this would be the triumphant moment. But as you're watching it, you're like, this is terrifying. Like, he's going all in to this thing that he was himself fearing the whole time. We know what it's going to mean. We know it's going to unleash war. We know it's also partially necessary to take down the Harkonnens, at least at this stage. So it was fantastic. Again, I was gripped, edge of my seat. And again, like a lump in my throat from being like, oh my God, like this is it. He's going for it. There's no turning back now. Fantastic scene, great execution, and Timmy T, great acting in it. Again, you got haters out there from many people that thought that scene and your performance in it wasn't great, but I thought it was fantastic. So that's my selection. How about you, Dylan?
Honora, the goon showing up at the house.
Makes sense.
It's the movie it's the part of the movie where it really changes and turns the whole plot on its head and really introduces the actual plot of the film. It sets the character dynamics for the rest of the movie between Honora and the three guys, and it introduces Igor, the character, to the movie, who is by far like the best character in the film outside of Honora. Like he's wonderful, he's fantastic, and he's so interesting and dynamic and real, and I love that about him. And then it also has just so many funny little moments where they're screaming at each other and they're trying to figure out what to do. She's kicking them and beating them down and then trying to run away. They're just all so funny in it. It's so good.
Well, all right. That's our collection of the Boxies, our bonus awards.
Indeed. And that's all the time we have. If you'd like to give your thoughts on the show, you can email us at theboxofficeshowpod@gmail.com.
Our main title theme for the show is Sundown by Joseph Lipe.
If you like the show, please give us 5 stars, whatever podcast app you're listening to. Be sure to tune in next week. Have a great rest of your day.